One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. To let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads. I'm feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take them chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free.
They're back.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? 7 days, and we're back again for another interesting conversation on the Diamond Effect podcast. I'm Mars Bishop. We got Mike Ball and we got Aaron Olinger. Before we jump over into this, you know, it's been so much stuff going on. But before we get started, like always, we'll see how everybody done for the week. So we'll start with you, Aaron. What's up with you, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing okay, getting over my illness that I caught from the gun show last weekend, but I've been out this week buying containers and buying soil. I spent about $350 just on containers, soil, topsoil, peat moss, garden soil, potable soil. Getting ready to put my mixtures together to start to get my garden in the ground next week. So I'm looking forward to that. This year, I'm going to grow somewhat of an orchard. I already got strawberries growing, but I'm going to add raspberries and blueberries to my orchard this year so I can have fruit as well as vegetables. They're perennial, so they're going to grow back year after year. So I'm looking forward to basically watching it grow and reaping the harvest. So I'm going to stop there.
I don't think there's anything better than having your own garden to, or vineyard or whatever to be able to tap into anytime you want. I think that's great. Hopefully you're feeling better, by the way, like you said. And for me, it's been, Mother's Day just passed. And so, believe it or not, it's kind of been like a 3-day ordeal where I celebrated it with my mom. The first night, believe it or not, my sister and my brother-in-law, they came over and my mom cooked for everybody. So I was like, well, that's not fair. You know what I mean? You're doing everything on Mother's Day. I want to take you out. So I did. We went out as a family yesterday, and then I specifically took my mom out today, to be able to, got to show mom a little love. Absolutely. But aside from that, it's been kind of crazy in the entire, news, the geopolitics, world news, as you guys know. I mean, we're talking about that a little bit right now on today's topic. So it's going to be a good one for sure. How about you, AB?
Man, same as always. Moving and shaking. I mean, it's been this week it's been pretty eventful. I been moving around like always, trying to balance work and everything else that I do outside of here. So it's a lot of stuff that's going on right now. And to let everybody know, yesterday, Riding Dirty hit the streaming apps.
So it hit Amazon yesterday?
Yeah, it's like each one is supposed to be on Prime, Apple TV, and Tubi. Tubi hit last night.
Well, tell people what this is real quick, just so a little summary of what you're talking about right here.
Well, it's the first movie that me and Big Bone 1%er was in. It's called Riding Dirty. We've played the little trailers on it numerous times. Actually, I wish I still had that trailer on here.
Me too. I was looking for it.
But it's a whole motorcycle movie. I mean, it's a part 1 and a part 2. Like I said, it just hit yesterday. So it's crazy how they did it though. Because when it hit, it put part 2 on before it put part 1 on.
Really?
So I had to call to find out what all was going on, and I found out what had happened was that it's a couple-day delay. So part 2 is out now. Part 1 will be on there in a couple days.
Right. Whatever the clearance is and all that crap and all that. Right.
And then it goes over to Apple TV and then to Prime. So like I said, it's a good movie. They're gonna be filming 3 here soon. Actually, I was talking to the director yesterday, and they're trying to decide whether they're going to do a part 3 or make it a miniseries. So they haven't decided.
That's dope.
Yeah, they haven't decided exactly what they were going to do yet, but that's going to be I'll be talking about it here next couple months or so, because of course they're going to do casting calls and all that. So if any bikers out there,
Hey,
there's a lot of bikers that watch.
I'll try it out.
Yeah, when they do the casting calls, I'm gonna put it out, put the information out, so people can come down here and cast for one of these roles. Like I said, I don't know which one they're gonna do yet, but like I said, I think they're leaning more towards the miniseries.
That would be super dope.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you lack like all the other movies that you're a part of. It's not like you have lack of content. It's just, I think it's a good movie overall that you could definitely do a series with.
Right. So we got that that's out. And then in July, either June or July, I think maybe July, they're going to do the red carpet for Standing on Business. And then it's going out right after that. So I'm thinking maybe end of July, beginning of August, Standing on Business part 1 and 2 will be out. That one's actually, man, I'm telling you, that one right there, that's a dope movie. That's
Mm.
gonna be a real dope movie, man. I mean, like I said, you're gonna that's one of them ones that you're gonna be kind of glued to your seat, wanting to see what's getting ready to happen next, because it's all kind of little twists and turns and plots, and it's just a bunch of stuff involved with it. You know what I mean? So I think that'll be a good one. But like I said, I'll keep everybody posted on that one. Let's see. Next one for me is two, actually. I got The Nasty Truth, and then I got one called Gasper's Treasure.
Are you already on the set, like actively right now, like where they're recording, or is that coming up?
No, it's coming up.
Okay, got you.
Gasper's Treasure is supposed to start in July, and The Nasty Truth is supposed to start in June. Yeah, so that's the next two that I'm gonna be embarked in. So both scripts look really cool. You know what I mean? Look like they'll both be pretty good movies, you know what I mean, based on what I see on there. And yeah, I think it'll all be pretty good, man. So like I said, go on there. Like I said, right now it's on Tubi. I haven't looked today to see if one had dropped yet, but it's supposed to be on there here the next couple of days. So I know 2 is on there now because I watched it last night. So,
and I'm gonna pull up the Diamond Effect group page on Facebook for everyone. So if for all of these updates regarding not only the Diamond Effect, but also anything that's going on with personal lives, stuff like this, movies and stuff like that, make sure you guys hit that Facebook link right there for the group right there.
I do want to give a shout out to somebody before we get started. There's a lady. I'm gonna post her little card right quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Do it.
Her name is Sandy Johnson. She does these handcrafted candles here. That and she sent me like 4 or 5 of them, and she makes the candles, and then she makes this this like a car scent that you can put a couple squirts in the car or whatever. Now I'm not a real big candle fan, but I do I do have them. But these when they came in the mail, you could smell these through the box.
Oh,
before I even opened the box, and they were
potent.
They were heavily wrapped in cellophane and in the bubble wrap and all that, and you could still smell these scents through the box. So I lit one the other day, let it go, and I just lit just one small one, and it had the whole house scented up. So she's this is a new business that she started out doing. I'm gonna put her little information down here at the bottom there.
It's right there down at the bottom, scrolling.
Yeah, so she like I said, she just started this, and I guess she's been doing it for a while, but she just now started to make a business out of it. But like I said, these are really good. She got 3 different sizes: small, medium, large. This one here, just like a tester size. But man, these are by far probably the best smelling candles that I've had. And that's no joke. I'm not just saying that simply because we own here. Those are by far the best smelling ones that I've had. And that car scent, man, I cut the AC on full blast and put a couple squirts to where it just cycled through. And
now your whole household,
the whole,
it's all freshed up.
The whole truck been smelling like that for days.
New scent.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know what she got it made out of, but I'm telling you, it's some good stuff. So I know a lot of ladies on here, they like those candles and stuff. So there's her information right there, and get a hold of her, man. I'm telling you, she got some really good stuff. Really good stuff.
Make sure you guys hit that up real quick before we get into the conversation. I want to go ahead and throw a couple of these super chats and membership stuff. Some dickhead named Mike Ball gifted out memberships. We got Naomi sending in $9.99, by the way. Super thankful for that, by the way. Appreciate you. Saying, remember to show some love to the channel and the Diamond Effect. Yes, make sure you guys go over to the Diamond Effect on YouTube, Diamond Effect podcast. Go over there, check them out. Make sure you subscribe and like and support on that side as well if you guys are from my side. We got Sarah the Raging Tomato, the legendary moderator of all debaters in all of the debate sphere. So good to see you, by the way. 999 saying love, very much appreciate that. And Lindsay Smith coming in with another 10 spots saying cheers. I very much appreciate you guys and your patronage, by the way. It helps out the show immensely.
No doubt, no doubt. So so we're gonna dive into this topic. Now, before we dive into this, I'm gonna say it's a lot of information that we're gonna put out here. And it's kind of like we're gonna talk about this part, but then we got to go back to bring it all the way around. So you got all the information dealing with this, because this is kind of, it's like when me and Aaron was talking earlier, like it's conflicting, you know what I mean? Because it's on one sense, you ask yourself one question. On this sense, it kind of triggers something on this end. So it's kind of back and forth, but we're gonna go through it, and we're gonna keep it as mild as we can keep it, to be able to explain it all and go for the discussions and all.
But it's hard when this is kind of pointed to specifically point at emotion. So it's going to be, yeah.
Right, exactly. So I'm going to read this right quick. And so with South Africa facing numerous challenges, many South Africans have been given the choice to flee to the U.S. But what would be the implications of this migration? Why are we doing this? Especially since the Trump administration is actively deporting immigrants out of the country.
Right now, right.
Right now. Is this a double standard? It's the question that we asking. Why is it being done? And would this cause chaos in the U.S., or with this current immigration dilemma, could it represent an actual opportunity for both sides? So that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to hit this. I'm going to hit this video real quick, just a quick minute, and then we're going to jump into this conversation.
Sure.
The Trump administration has made it virtually impossible for many refugees to come to the United States, but the president is making a special exception for a group of 59 white South Africans who have now been granted refugee status. They arrived at Dulles Airport just outside of Washington, D.C. on a charter flight that was paid for by the U.S. government. The Trump administration approved their applications in just under 3 months. That is much faster than the normal process, which can take years. The president and his top advisor, Elon Musk, who is South African, have made allegations that white farmers in the country are being discriminated against under land reform policies. Now, South Africa's government says those policies are necessary to remedy the legacy of apartheid and calls the allegations of discrimination unfounded and completely false. The Episcopal Church, which has worked for decades to resettle refugees, says they will not be helping this time around, calling it painful to watch one group of refugees receive preferential treatment over many others who have been waiting in refugee camps or in dangerous conditions for years. But the White House says this is the beginning of a much larger relocation effort, guys.
Interesting.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with you, Aaron. What's your take on it? We're gonna try to bounce back and forth and go around with it.
Okay. Well, like I told you earlier, I thought this was going to be something easy for me. Everyone has a pet peeve. I have a personal hatred for racists. I'm actually a black male. I've dealt with racism from Jews, whites, blacks, Mexicans, different
From
people.
conception,
Right.
I mean.
Couldn't find a group that I could fit in with, so I became my own one-man army. And I've been like playing lone wolf ever since. But like I said, I have a personal hatred. So when I heard about South Africans, I thought, oh, this is going to be a simple one to do. But when I got into it, I started dealing with moral dilemmas. What I would do as a father, how the world operates. I was seeing ethical paradoxes. And like I told you earlier, an ethical paradox or a moral dilemma is an ethical paradox where two or more conflicting moral imperatives, none overrides the other, confront an agent And in said situation, none of the answers could be correct. Now, as a father, would I want to raise my children in an environment where they're going to be attacked at school daily? No. There is racism being showed to where a lot of the whites cannot get jobs now. The shoe's on the other foot. Some of the bad things that they did to blacks is now coming back on them. There's an old saying that is what is sauce for the goose is now sauce for the gander. But, even in education, the disparities in education has changed where the whites are not being educated in the schools. The new land law that's gone into effect where they can seize public land, they can see that's not being used. They can seize your business or different things. I mean, there's if I, as a father, cannot find work, my wife cannot find work, we cannot make it, our children are not being properly educated, I have to find somewhere else to go. So then I checked into to see why they're not going to the refugee camps. There is no refugee camp that will take South Africans, period. Nowhere in the world.
Really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
You can't just show up at a refugee camp. Once you show up, because they're limited resources, they don't have to accept you. And as soon as they state they're South Africans, they can't get in. There's no resources for them. And, some of the nations are prejudiced against them because South Africa is one of the founding fathers of the BRIC Alliance, which is working against the United States and working with Soviets, Chinese, and things to move away from the American dollar. So some of the countries that would normally take you in, they're not doing it. But as a father, would I want to have my children there? Would I want to raise a family in that type of environment where we can be murdered, we could be attacked nightly, there's killings going on, there's attacks going on? No. I mean, there's a saying that the son shall not bear the sins of the father, nor shall the father bear the sins of the son. The wickedness of the wicked shall be upon himself, and the righteousness of the righteous will be upon himself. Meaning you're judged only by the offenses that you commit. Your children shouldn't have to suffer, and future generations of your family should not have to suffer. I mean, what if you don't have racism in your heart? Should someone come against you? I mean, once I started digging into this, I became so conflicted inside that as I had to talk to Bishop about it, because I could go either way on different issues depending upon what's going on. I mean, on the news report you just saw, they said that Trump fast-tracked these people. Well, I can understand why, because there's nowhere for them to go. And obviously things were so bad that they had to pull up roots and leave the country where they was at to try to escape. And I mean, that's a hard thing to do. You can't just pull up and go somewhere else that easily and leave everything and family, friends, your property and stuff behind. Most of them are just leaving with what clothes they got in their bags and what they got on their back. I mean, there's so much going on here, and going with Trump fast tracking them. Okay, sometimes it comes down to an issue between, it's not what you know, but who you know. I mean, I admit I had a good job in my lifetime working for General Motors because my cousin worked in the employment department. I mean, you go to NFL parties, you got a guy at the front door with a rope. The pretty girls get to get in free. The real big fat girls can't get in at all. And at some of the nightclubs, the big fat girls got to pay to get in. Everybody uses things. I mean, I've been places where people recognized me and gave me discounts. I didn't ask. They just did. Or would give me a meal free of charge. They would comp it out. It comes down sometimes to who you know. Everybody the way the world operates, if you got inside connections, everybody uses them. So why not? It's just the world that we live in. These people had nowhere else to go, and Trump fast tracked them through. And that's a benefit of having that type of connection. Now, was Elon Musk possibly his involvement here? And two other billionaires that come straight out of South Africa? Very well could be. That's a part, again, example of who you know and not what you know. But let me stop there for right now, Bishop. Let everybody else talk.
Okay. So so when I was looking at this, right, and like I said, we talking about what we got going on right now. And we know that ever since this administration took office, they've had a heavy stance against immigration. That was the big thing that they talked about the whole time. They had a heavy anti-migration stance. They've been
Who did?
This administration that came in now.
Fair.
They've suspended visas for students. Gave them sent a little notice telling them you got 7 days to turn yourself in and be out. They refugee programs. They like I said, they halted the visas for Afghans, Iraqis, and a lot of the sub-Saharan African countries. Same thing they did in Haiti. So my question is that what's the difference?
Well,
these people they're in war-torn countries as well. You know what
that
I mean?
was going to be one of my points.
Yeah. So so why is this particular group better than the other ones? Is what I'm getting at, especially being the fact that you are deporting so many people as it is.
Right.
I mean,
it's going to be. The answer is
people that you're not even supposed to be taking, and you ain't even bought them back. But you bring this group of people in, and they already said that they're gonna. I mean, like the 59 was to start, but they're gonna be bringing in several more. But did you see the video where like when the first group came, they had the guy there from the Department of Homeland Security, like he was there like welcome to America. This is glad you got your flag. This is the red, white, and blue. This represents freedom. Blah 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 blah. You ain't done that shit for nobody else. You ain't never seen nobody do nothing on the damn news.
No, you're right.
Or they came in doing that.
You're right.
You know
this is 100% politically driven. I'm not going to sit here in front and say it's not. I mean, one of the excuses that was on this panel was, well, these guys have nowhere to go. I mean, neither do any Palestinians. You know what I mean? We're not housing them. Here's my stance personally, and this may be, crude to some other people, but I'm very much about America first and fuck everyone else. When it comes to South Africa, sorry, I have sympathy for their people, absolutely, but it's not our circus. This is not our ordeal to come in and save the day. Now, when it comes to immigration, I have no issues with immigration, legal migration, and what I mean. But when it comes down to the refugee side, I think this is where we lack in the aspect of law. I think we lack in legislation regarding the refugee law. We're accepting people all the way around the world to come here. Now, obviously, people would want to come to America, obviously, but the way that our refugee is supposed to be set up is you're supposed to go to the next safest state that is your safe state. You know what I mean? And we are not to them. As much as I hate to say that, there are safe places for them to go. You know what I mean? And even though they may not be well accepted or may not want to be accepted by said government, if they actually push the refugee side on their side, they could end up getting the whole deal done. But instead, it's very easy to go ahead and send them over here to the United States.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Okay. The thing that I didn't like right now is like now I am totally for them deporting these gangbangers up out of here that came from Venezuela and places like that. However, when we pulled out of Afghanistan, there were people who helped American soldiers and things that came over here, and they number up in the thousands, and they've been living here since we pulled out. They've been here more than a few years. So they're getting ready to round some of them up and send them back. As soon as they get back to Afghanistan, as soon as they come down off the plane, there's going to be people pointing the business end of weapons at them. And if they don't kill them right there on the tarmac, they'll probably put them in work camps and work them till they die, them and their families. Those people helped us. They should be rewarded. We have a history of turning on our allies. I mean, we turned on Marcos in the Philippines. We turned on the Shah. We turned on Aristide. We turned on different people that supposedly helped us, and we allowed others to come in and take over. And it wasn't to our benefit, those nations taking over. They turned against the United States. I don't know what our problem is with being loyal to our allies or loyal to people who help our soldiers. I don't understand that at all. That's the reason why I became so conflicted on this. I mean,
Wait, real quick.
Go
I
ahead.
gotta say one thing on that. Are they really our allies when they're one of the people that started the BRIC alliance?
Well, you're talking about South Africa. I was talking about the Afghans.
I'm
Um,
sorry. I wasn't
okay.
following there.
Oh,
That
no,
was my
no
fault.
problem on that. But now going back to South Africa, like you said, we don't have a monkey in that circus, but they are part of the world. We do give them economic aid, which I don't understand why we fund the BRIC Alliance. I really don't, with American tax-paying dollars. We give money to Russia, China, everybody that's a member of the BRIC Alliance. We give money to them, and I don't understand it. South Africa has a border. It's a sovereign nation. How they choose to live within their country is their right. And I'm sorry to see that some people are being neglected. I mean, there's people around the world right now that if you're a Christian and you're in certain countries, they're hunting you down and killing the men again, selling the women and children into slavery, and using some of them as organ harvesting to sell on the dark web. And their only problem is they're Christian. And this is happening in a lot of Muslim countries and things. Do we have a right to go in there and put a stop to that? We have the force that we could do it, but it's a sovereign nation. We have to recognize their sovereignty. That's the reason why they have a border. What they do within their country is their business. How they treat their people is their business. We can't affect that, but we have this attitude that we can influence decisions made in other countries. And sometimes I think we need to mind our own business. But I'll stop there.
Right, exactly. So, so here's another thing that I'm getting at there. So like this new administration program that they came up with, it was initially only for the Afrikaners, is it's the term that they use. But now the guidelines released by the U.S. Embassy on Monday said that these applicants for refugee status must be of Afrikaner ethnicity or be a member of a racial minority in South Africa. Now, the Afrikaners are not the only minority in South Africa. You know what I mean? Because you got 2 million British that's over there. I mean, so they're not the only ones. Now, if you're going to open it up and say, okay, you got people over there that's being persecuted or not being able to find jobs and they taking land and all that. Okay, so that should be open for anyone that's in that country, not just one particular group. Number two, how are we talking about not giving people rights, taking people's rights, taking land and everything else, when we are the main culprit, because we did the same shit here. So it's kind of like pot calling the kettle black. How you gonna tell somebody over there that they wrong and they can't do it, but you do it here?
Stop the cap.
Right.
And it's been going on for the past 400 fucking years. It's been going on.
Yeah, no kidding.
But it's wrong for somebody else to do it in their country. How you gonna tell somebody over there that they wrong, but you done the shit here?
Because we got morals and they don't.
And you still doing
I'm
it.
just kidding.
You know what I mean? Like you sit there and you criticize their affirmative action policies, saying that it was racist and it was falsely claimed and all. But you're doing the same. But you're doing the same shit over here. You know what I mean? So how can you by any stems of the imagination go to another country and tell them what they can't do, but you're doing it? Is that one of them do as I say, not as I do type situations? Because that's exactly what's going on. You know what I mean? Now we talk about like, okay, yeah, they've had a lot of killings in South Africa, a lot of them. And yes, some of these farmers have been in the mix and have been killed. Okay.
A big percentage.
But based on the stuff that I found out, they said it's average like 50 farmers a year has been killed for the past, I went back like the past 2 years.
So we're not talking like 15,000 people.
Well, here's the thing. It was 50 last year, 50 the year before. But all the way around, you know what I mean, excluding their 50, it was another 20,000 people that's been murdered both years combined. So you got 50 here, you got 20,000 here. Okay, 100 people here for 2 years, 40,000 people over here. Okay, why is this 40 more important than the 40,000? It's not making sense. It's really not making sense, especially when you sitting here and you saying that you trying to, weed out all the, like at first we was talking about get rid of the criminal element that it came in. That was the first thing that they were talking about. Okay, fine. I'm pretty sure everybody listening right now don't have no problem about them, taking the prisoners that, like Venezuela, cleared their prisons out and let them all come. Okay, so they gathered them all up and they sent them over to El Salvador. Okay, I'm pretty sure nobody on here is gonna have anything to say as no, that's wrong to do. They're not gonna say that. But they're not the only people that you send in. They're not the only people that you're going after. So why are you making such a big stance and sending people out? But over here, you make an exception for this particular group, not the whole country, just this particular group. When you just had your Homeland Security secretary just today that was coming up with all these reasons as to why habeas corpus should be suspended, so that way the people that they are deporting don't have to have due process. You can ship them out, but you can bring some more in. It's not making sense. You know what I mean? It's especially when it's just for this amount of people as opposed to that whole South African nation. That's not right. You know what I mean? And it seems to me like it's some bullshit involved. There's some bullshit involved. There's a lot of disinformation that was spread it. Now, it was the other crazy thing that I seen on there was that Trump had a conversation with the president of South Africa and was like, hey, what's going on over there? He was like, what do you mean? What's going on? You know what I mean? They actually had a full conversation and he was explaining to him what all was going on. And in his mind, he figured like, okay, everything's fine. Shortly after, they started pulling people. So I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play this little video right quick.
Sure.
Those people who are being
and ties to go to the United States do not fit the definition of a refugee. A refugee is someone who has to leave their country out of fear of political persecution, religious persecution, or economic persecution. And
that's what the United States says they're undergoing in South Africa. That's why they've opened the door for them.
Yes, and they don't fit that bill. They don't fit that description. And I had a conversation with President Trump on the phone, and he said, what's happening down there? And I said, President, what you've been told by those people who are opposed to transformation back home in South Africa is not true. And I added to him, I said, we were well taught by Nelson Mandela and other iconic leaders like Oliver Tambo on how to continue to build a united nation out of the diverse groupings that we have in South Africa. We're the only country on the continent where the colonizers came to stay, and we have never driven them out of our country. So they are staying, and they're making great progress. It's a fringe grouping that does not have a lot of support, that is anti-transformation and anti-change, that would actually prefer to see South Africa going back to apartheid type of policies. And I said to him, I would never do that. I learned at the feet of Nelson Mandela, and we intend to proceed with the implementation of our constitutional architecture. And I thought in my conversation with him early in the morning at 4 o'clock South African time, he understood that. And I said, I'd like to come and meet him so that we can discuss this matter further. So those people who have fled are not being persecuted. They are not being hounded. They are not being treated badly. And they are leaving ostensibly because they don't want to embrace the changes that are taking place in our country in accordance with our Constitution. So we think that the American government has got the wrong end of the stick here, but we'll continue talking to them.
So a face-to-face meeting is coming up. Is Elon Musk invited when you have that face-to-face meeting?
Well, I don't know. They will determine whether Elon Musk is part of it or not. I will go with my own South African delegation.
Okay. So he's saying on there, when he had his conversation with Trump, he basically saying like, no, this is not what it is. You get a lot of this information. Let's just meet up. We'll talk about it. Now they jumped up and did that. You know what I mean? Now, so here's another question. Is that even legal? For you to just pull people out of a country and take them somewhere else? Is that even legal?
We've done that shit in the past, have we not?
No, I'm just saying, why did you not tell him that that's what you was going to do? Like, you had a conversation with him. He told you what was going on, and you were like, yeah, okay, we'll set up a meeting. We'll talk about it. And you already had something going on that you was getting ready to pick up people anyway without him even knowing anything about it. I mean, don't that seem sketchy? Suspect?
It's sus.
You know, now they talking about a lot of them are mad about this land forfeiture. You know what I mean? And a lot of this stuff stemmed from the land that was taken during the apartheid. Are you familiar with that, Mike?
No.
Okay. So the apartheid started in 1913.
Okay.
And it was basically a policy system of segregation that was implemented by the government of South Africa. Mm-hmm. So from 1948 to the early 1990s, it was designed.
So after World War II.
Right. So it was designed to maintain a white minority rule to suppress the whites, to suppress the rights of non-white majority. So,
Sure. Sure.
okay, so in South Africa, you got 7% white minority. You got about 85% black. Okay. Now, they had several laws that was in place, and I'm gonna read to you a couple of them.
Okay.
Okay, so they had the classification. So every South African was classified, whether you were white, black, colored, which is mean if you were mixed, Indian and Asian. Classification was determined every aspects of that person's life, including where they lived, where they worked, where they went to school at, and who they could marry.
When did that end?
This ended in apartheid ended in 94.
Okay,
So
so
this went on from
right before I was born.
yeah, so this went on from
Yeah.
1913 to 1994.
Damn.
On the residential part, non-whites were forced to live in separate areas, often poor, overcrowded townships and rural homelands. They needed special permits to enter white areas, basically Jim Crow in South Africa. So black South Africans had to carry a pass book that just to prove that you had permission to be in certain areas. Schools, hospitals, transportation, public facilities were all segregated. And those and for non-whites, they were vastly inferior. Non-whites had political representation and power. There was no black people on the government whatsoever between 1913 and 1994. None. Zero.
So, real quick on this whole point with South Africa. I'm sure that this will lead into this, but I do know that with South Africa in particular, that 7% of the population is white, but yet they own the majority of the land there, right?
Right. Right. They own 75% of it.
Like a huge majority. Right.
Right. So a lot of that land was actually taken during the apartheid. So when they came through and did the restitution of land rights in 94 and then the expropriation act in 2024, that's what both of those was actually doing. They going back through, and anything that was not built on, like land has just been sitting there, ain't nobody building on it, nothing like that. They could go through the court system and give that land back to the people that you took it from.
Okay.
That's what this is about. So they pitched the fit because some of this land they got to give back. That's what they're mad about. So
the white Africans are mad about that. Right. Understood.
Right. So they're mad because they got to give a lot of this land back. Now they haven't went and just taken land from you. They didn't come to your house and say, okay, we're about to take your land and you got 2 days to pack all your shit and get out. They're not doing that. This was only for land that was not built on. Nothing's done with it. It's there. They going through pulling that land up and they giving it to the families of the people that you took it from in the first place, because all that stuff is documented. You know what I mean? So they going back through the records, through the courts. They're not just taking anything. Everything is going through the courts. So this is what the big problem is now. It's because some of these areas are farmland, which is why they're pitching fit. Because they don't want to have to give this land up, and
understandable on an economic level for them,
right? And some of this land they can actually take, and they don't have to pay you for it. So that's another problem. That
they have to give it back with no payment back.
Well, they did have it at first when they first did the act in 2024. It was they would get with you, find out how much the land was, and then they would reimburse you for the land. Like they would take the land from you, but they would give you money for the land. Then they signed another one in 25, like January 25, which was like, you know what I mean, some of this land If it's built on, if something built on it, yes, we will pay you for that land back. If it's not inhabited, nothing's on it, we can take it. We don't have to give you anything. So that's one of the biggest things that they're going back and forth about. Now in 90, let's see, in 94, no, I'm not, let me take that back. In 1990, you had the president F.W. de Klerk that he slowly started to dismantle the whole apartheid system. And then also in 1990 was the same year that Nelson Mandela was freed from prison. He was in there for 27 years. And that was one of the reasons why he was in jail in the first place, because he was fighting publicly fighting apartheid. They locked him up for 27 years, and he ended up getting out February 11th. And then in 94 is when they first did their first multiracial democratic election. From that point forward is when they actually started doing that. But you got to think from 1913 to 1994, a whole lot of stuff that was done during that time. You know what I mean? And it wasn't at the benefit of the 80% that was there. Now it done kind of did a little flip to where they trying to get this land back and give it back to the people that they actually took it from in the first place during the apartheid. And now it's a big problem. Now we sending people over here, which shouldn't even be our problem. That shouldn't even be nothing that we should even be bothered with. You know what I mean? That's just like another country calling here and saying, hey, you know, I don't like the way you did your policy over there. I think you need to change that. I mean, they don't give a shit. What they gonna tell you? You know what I mean? Go fly a kite. I don't care what you think. We're gonna do what we're gonna do over here. But why is it that it's cool for you to go somewhere else and tell them what they need to do with their land in their country? You know what I mean? Now, goes back into, you know, they already having other problems in Africa already, not just with South Africa, because you got the one president of Burkina Faso. He's like an intern president, but he came in 37 years old, and he basically came in and ran the French completely out. Took all that shit. Took their you know, this particular area has a vast gold mines, a lot of stuff like that. And what they were doing, they were like collecting 18-19 billion dollars worth of gold and was giving the country $1 million. I mean, giving the country $1 billion, but they were keeping 18 billion of it. So they turned around and ran them completely out. Took the mines back, took everything back. And I think just a couple of days ago, they end up catching this lady over there. Come to find out, she was some type of French operative or whatever that they sent over there. She's supposed to have been a part of this thing dealing with the schools where they, you know, how they bring people from other countries to help educate the kids and stuff like that. They had slipped this woman in, and she was taking pictures of military sites and all kind of stuff. And they figured out who she was and just let her just keep sitting there taking pictures until they were able to get her. But it's a lot of stuff going on over there. A lot of them countries in Africa is starting to take their land back. They're starting to, you know what I mean, actually go back and like, okay, we got all these resources. Why are we selling these resources, giving them to you? You giving us a little bit of money and you taking the big majority of it when it's our resources. So a lot of these countries are starting to jump back into it. You know what I mean? So you hear a lot about this guy here that I know you probably didn't heard about him, Mike, that president there, his name was Ibrahim, what's his last name? Traore, Ibrahim Traore.
Of what country?
He's in Burkina Faso.
Maybe I
He's,
have not.
He just had a meeting with Putin just a couple days ago.
Okay.
They like literally, like Russia had literally sent Putin's plane there, picked him up at
I have not heard this.
the whole bit talking to this guy. You know what I
I have
mean?
not heard this.
The U.S. hates him. France hates him because he won't let him in. He won't let him in to get the gold, which is so now they're trying to say, oh well, he's been a dictator. He's doing harm to his people. He's doing
So
this,
now
he's
it's
doing this.
propaganda.
Right. So when he took over those mines and all that stuff, he said that country didn't have any gold surplus whatsoever. Now they do. They were able to completely get out of debt. So they're debt free now. And he's been bringing on a lot of stuff. You know, he's bought a lot of stuff for agriculture or stuff like that. He's been reaching out to a lot of these countries about getting technology, science, stuff like that to bring into the country. But they hate the fact because he's not letting them get those resources. So now, same thing that they did to Gaddafi in Libya, now all of a sudden he's a bad guy. But what they're saying and what he's doing is two different things. So seems like that's what a lot of this stuff has always been about. You know what I mean? It's not about what somebody, what it is that we getting off of this deal. Just like with this right here. There's a reason why they're doing this. They're not just worried about this one little particular group of people. Out of all the people in South Africa, you just worried about this one little group. There's a reason for that.
Well, why do you think that? I said in my original answer as to what is happening here. Yes, it's politically driven. You know what I mean? Absolutely. To answer that question, it absolutely is. I don't care what anyone says. I'm as conservative, as staunch conservative as it gets, and I can tell you that. You know what I mean? I can look through that and be like, yeah, that's politically driven. And that's exactly what I was getting at with the whole refugee side of the argument. It's like, well, is your next safest place to go the United States from South Africa, or do they have a safer place that they could negotiate to go ahead and settle in for a small time or whatever? Yeah, there is other options there.
Right. Okay. Now think about this. So when they had the wars that was going on in Haiti, the gang wars that were taking over the government and the whole deal. So you had Haiti on one side, you had the Dominican Republic on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
The Dominican Republic didn't want the Haitians coming over there.
They hate each other to the maximum.
Right. So what did they do? They piled up on these boats, went across the water, come over here on this side. When they got them, what did they do? Put them all in one little spot, rounded them all up. And the first chance they got, what they do? They shipped their ass right back over there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was a war-torn country. You know what I mean? They was going through active war at that point. Remember, they was over shooting commercial planes and everything else.
It was actually savagery for real.
Exactly. So, Nicaragua, war-torn country. A lot of people that came over here from Nicaragua during that time. Afghanistan, the people that you actually, talked into helping you and like, okay, we'll bring you over here. Now you're sending them back. I just seen a thing yesterday. Was it yesterday or day before yesterday, where there was a guy that came over, served in the military, served in the United States military, did his time, was out. They sent him, he was out heading to the store. ICE pulled him over, picked him up, and they about to deport him. Now, this man served time in the military in the United States Army. Did 6 years, and now you about to deport him.
Mm-hmm.
Why? You know what I mean? So you picking up people left and right, sending them up out of here, but you bringing in some over here for what? Because they upset because they feel that they've been persecuted against, but you done persecuted the damn country from 1930 1913 to 1994 and still doing it. You know what I mean? It's still a lot of racial shit going on over there. That don't make sense. How is it because you feel like it's okay? Like once the shit done flipped off on you, now you feel some kind of way. But the shit been going on right here too. It's been going on here. You know what I mean? So we really can't talk. You really can't tell another country what they can and can't do dealing with this shit when they actually actively practicing the same shit right here. What you got, Aaron?
Well, I got a couple points here. One, another reason why it would be difficult to get the Afrikaners to go into a camp is when they got into a war with Great Britain, which was 1899, 1902. They called it the Boer War. It was a colonial war. The Boers were forced off the land by the British because gold and diamonds was discovered. And South Africa became a strategic location. So the Boers became guerrilla fighters and were very tenacious fighters. However, anyone captured, any of their families captured, whatever, would be put into concentration camps that the British created. And the majority of those people never made it out. They died in those camps. The British fought what they call unconventional warfare, which means they was killing women and children. They was conducting scorched earth. If they couldn't take it with them, they burn it down. And they set up concentration camps everywhere to put them into. So knowing that those camps were death sentences to anyone in them, to get a South African to go into one right now would be almost an impossibility. Then the second thing I want to say, and I'm stating this because both sides of my family, my mother's side, my dad's side, were farmers. Farmers are not rich folks. They get by on very little money every year. So, and I don't know if people took a hard look at the ones that came in off the plane. Those weren't billionaires or millionaires. Those were just common folk here that's trying to get their family to a safer area to where they don't have to be ridiculed and where they can find work. As a father, I would do that. Whether Trump had permission to go in there and get them, those people made an active decision to leave all their possessions behind and leave with just the shirts on their back. And I don't know if anyone realizes it or not, but there's no farmers in the world that I know of that are rich, wealthy people unless they own a corporate farm. Farmers get by on very little margins every year. So I don't like the fact of the apartheidness and the racism. That's where I thought I could easily do this. But then I had to interject myself into it as a farmer, a person coming from farming people, and also as a father, what would I do? And it would be a big decision for me to move my family to another country. But putting them into a camp, no, that'd be the last thing I'd want to do, knowing that those camps would be death sentences. So I understand why they made the move that they made. Script is flipped, and racism is on the other side of the coin. If you stay, you only make up 7% of the population, and you got 80-something% that's going to be coming down on you. Now, that one president said that it was false information. That could be true as a whole for the whole nation. But in the individual provinces, you don't know what the level of racism is. It could be a particular village where the racism is extensive. You don't know. But as a nation of a whole, I believe he was telling the truth, that they have things in to bring in new deals, new policies for their country, and they're trying to grow the country as a whole. Because like you said, they've got close to 2 million British people that stayed after the Boer War. I mean, if the blacks, who make up 80% of the population, and the whites make up 7.3%, that's only 87.3% of the total population. Well, Who's the rest? You got 3 million that would be British. Who's the rest of them? So I don't want people to think that these are wealthy people leaving the nation. These are damn near just above poverty level folks because they're farmers and they want something better than to be living under constant threats to their life and to their family's life and to be able to find a job. As a father, I understand that mentality and I would roll with that. But man, like I said, I'm more conflicted over this whole thing the more I looked into it than any topic we've ever done on this show before. I mean, it's an ethical paradox. But I'll stop there.
Okay, so out of the whole population of Africa, why is it that we just worried about this one group? Poverty is all the way through there. Why are we just worried about that one group?
Well,
okay.
Again,
hold up. Let me finish.
Okay.
Now here in the U.S., you got black farmers here that they don't get USAID.
That's true.
They don't get it.
Mhm.
They broke. They going through doing the best that they can. So my question is, you're not taking care of what you're taking care of here. How can you turn around and tell another country what they can do and then bring their people over here to say, okay, well, you can come over here and you can have a better life over here, but you ain't taking care of the people that you're supposed to be taking care of. Who you're supposed to be taking. You weren't worried about everybody else for whatever reason that you worried about them. And you bring them over. Now you don't want, let's just keep it real. Most of these people that they sending out of here are what? Brown. That's who they sending up out of here. Who they bringing in? White. Now, I'm not trying to be racial about the shit, but I'm just calling it for what it is. You got the whole continent of Africa, and most of Africa is poor. A lot of it. Why are you just singling this one little group out? Because they've been persecuted. But hell, the whole damn continent been persecuted for umpteen years. You know what I mean? The same thing that went on there is the same thing that went on here. Exact same thing. It wasn't apartheid, but it was the same shit, same grounds. So how can we willingly sit over and tell another country like, oh, that ain't right. We're gonna bring your people over here. But you only gonna pick and choose who you bring over here to do this, but you're getting rid of everybody else. That's not fair. By no means is that fair, especially when you got farmers that's sitting right here that's struggling. You have farmers, once they lost that USAID, was struggling because they had to turn around and they got their little money from what they had already planted because they had to go to court in order to get that. But then once they shut USAID down, they ain't getting no money off this other stuff. People here right now are losing farms because they don't have the money to pay the loans back that they've already taken out to make the crops and all that other stuff. But we sitting here worried about some farmers in South Africa when you got farmers right here that's struggling. That don't make sense. Whether they black or white here, they struggling. I mean, a lot of people here are struggling. Whether you're a farmer or not, you struggling. But we sitting here getting ready to go through and do this mass exodus of Afrikaners and send them over here when your own people, white, black, Puerto Rican, don't matter, are struggling. And that don't make sense. Take care of your home first.
Yeah.
But you got anything, Mike?
No, I hold the same position, man, that overall with this whole thing, that it should be America first and fuck everyone else. I don't care where they're from. I mean, I don't care the race. I don't care the color of their skin. I don't care about any of that. We need to protect our own people first, American citizens. End of story.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's like people always, in all these other countries, they think that America is the most richest country in the world, which it is. But the, middle class people are struggling.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
What middle
And
class?
right, exactly. You know what I mean? Like everybody's struggling right now. You know what I mean? You're either rich or you broke. That's what it is. So how you gonna send some people over here and you sitting here like, hey, welcome to America. It's the greatest nation in the land. About bullshit. You know what I mean? I ain't never seen them welcome nobody in there like that. I mean, it was just super cheesy just to even watch that. Just to see them just go in there and just pull that whole little fake shit like they just did. Man, it's crazy. We got put Bobby on here right quick.
Yeah,
He was on.
we got Bobby Worthy, the man, the myth, the legend up in here, man. Good to see you, man.
What's happening, y'all? What's happening? I don't know about all that legend stuff.
Now you are, you know the deal.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm late, man. I've been driving the slave ship all day. So.
I heard that.
Yeah, so we was talking about the administration and how they sent the 59 people over here from South Africa. We kind of went through a bunch of stuff dealing with that. We actually like on the end part of this now. But what's your opinion on it? Do you think that it's a good idea for them to do that? And if not, why?
I think I agree with everybody else. We need to take care of our own backyard first. I know personally 3 black farmers right now that are about to lose their farm. Talked to one of them the other day. They've been waiting on their money for years now in this federal big lawsuit, and now this has interfered with that, and more. And some of these people got, 300-400 acres or better of fields, black farmers down in Quitman, Georgia, stuff like that, that about to lose everything because of this. That's going on. We need to take care of our own. America to me has always been a big bully. And to me, one day it's going to be our downfall. Somebody gonna pull their card, and it may be, without a doubt, the destruction of the world. Depends on who pull their card. That's just like what y'all spoke about ice, icy or icy cake or whatever their damn names are. This is what people don't understand. I don't give a damn what executive order Donald Trump signs. I don't care who signs what. If it interferes with the Constitution, it's null and void. The law is clear. The law says anything that contradicts or try to overrule the supreme law of Iran is automatically null and void. And according to the Interstate Commerce Clause, and I told people this the other day, the Interstate Commerce Clause, the federal government has limited jurisdiction inside one of the union states. And people don't realize that. They have limited jurisdiction. They don't have the power they think they have when they're coming into one of the union states. And Justice Clarence Thomas wrote the opinion on that, on the jurisdiction of the federal government, that they have to meet certain requirements before they can be involved in anything forcefully inside one of the union states. And that is either they own the land or it's some kind of interstate commerce is the only way that they can get involved. So like the feds coming into one of the union states, making arrests, there's no such thing as a federal fucking crime. I don't know where people get that shit from, because the feds can't come in and arrest inside the union states if it doesn't meet the requirements of the Interstate Commerce Clause of the 10th Amendment. So, and it goes back to everything I said. And until we start having accountability, there can be no effective changes in this country. When government officials like Donald Trump and anybody else, local police, federal police, when they can come in and do whatever they want, when they want, without any recall or anything, it's just crazy. They're talking about it. Is anybody familiar with the? And I was trying to look it up before I came in. The Insurrection Act. Everybody
Are
familiar
we
with that?
familiar with it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, y'all, and see, I had some guys who were talking the other day, talking about, well, the Insurrection Act is the start of martial law. No, the Insurrection Act is letting the federal government assist local governments to do what they want to do. We don't want martial law. Well, actually, I do, because this is what people don't understand. There's only two ways the Constitution can be changed. Executive orders can't change the Constitution. I cannot. I don't know if a lot of y'all know, a lot of Donald Trump's executive orders are getting overturned now. They can't overrule the Constitution at all. So the only way the Constitution can be interrupted is at the state level and the federal level, is that that Donald Trump declare martial law. If he declares martial law, then it suspends the Constitution. So if it suspends the Constitution, the supreme law of the land, that means there's no law, there's no probation, there's no parole, there's no murder, there's no rape, there's no nothing. So I dare them to declare martial law, because I'm gonna act a goddamn fool. I mean, because it's to go, as you talked about the concentration camp, that's what it's going to do. It's going to put everything under military dictatorship. So I'm preparing for battle. So I don't know what everybody else doing, but yeah, shit, I'm old now. So
As you should prepare. Absolutely. This is what this whole show has been from the conception, was prepare.
You got to prepare for it, man.
You're right.
And I don't agree with everything. I don't disagree with everything Donald Trump. A few things, to me, I will admit that it made sense to me. But for the most of it, hey, he the president. Shit, everybody voted for him. So and people don't understand this. But every time I put it up, they put me in Facebook jail and they take it down. There is still an $80 million bounty on Trump's head, dead or alive, that was put out by the Iranian people when he was in office last time, when he killed that general. But every time I post it up, Facebook put me in jail for 90 days and then take it down. But it's on YouTube.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So based on what we was talking about, why do you think they've changed stance on? Okay, so you still deporting people. You still sending out the notices, people to self-turn themselves in or whatever. You still deporting people, but then you bring in this group in. Okay,
It's a power move.
Why?
That's what it is. Well, this is what people say, and like Africa. Africa is a rich company. Gold? You talking about the largest gold mine? I mean, come on, man. And actually, Boosie Badass, we used to do county security for Boosie. Boosie Badass owns a gold mine over there. That's why he be wearing all that gold.
Shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He bought a gold mine over there. Yeah, but the power, man, the resources, that man, gold is power. It's a power play, and I'm sure, without a doubt, there's plans to invade Africa. Watch what I tell you.
Well, yeah, I figured. Yeah, I thought about that when they was talking about that. They was talking about that one president over in.
Yeah, that boy ain't joking, man. That boy. Let me tell you, and I told Bishop about this the other day. He was on a plane. The president over there, what's his name? Forget his name.
Which one? What are you talking about?
The black one.
The new guy, Ibrahim?
The young guy.
Ibrahim. Yeah, Ibrahim.
Yeah, Ibrahim. was on a plane, and he don't travel with security or nothing. He don't like all that. So, but he was trained coming from somewhere and going back to Africa. The stewardess on the airline, some guy that had some kind of business dealings with Africa, wanted to board the plane first class, but first class was full. So the white lady, the stewardess, not knowing who he was, asked him would he downgrade to a lower class because she had something body important coming on board. Still not knowing who this man was, right? So she basically degraded him, talked about the blacks, tried to get other black. He told her, no, I'm not moving. And he was always calm, never said anything or who he was. And then, so long story short, she went through all the blacks on the parade and then actually put one in and let the other man came on. And he said, so he spoke up and he said, so you're choosing all the black people. That's not fair. You choosing people by the color of their skin. And she said, no, I'm not. So, and he still stayed calm, never said anything. I'm going through this shortly because it was a whole thing. But anyway, as they enter in Africa, getting ready to land, they noticed military presence all around the airport. And the white guy that he had a relationship that replaced the black guy said, oh, it's probably for me. I told you I'm an important man, right? Still, he never said nothing. So basically, when the plane landed, his security team got on board, saluted him, and they were shocked. And he placed both of them in handcuffs and arrested their ass. Ain't that some shit? Now that's power.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we were talking about him earlier because we were saying that that he had ran off a lot of the French he ran off, and then he took over those gold mines.
It's all about the control, because people, no matter what we do in life, no matter if you black, white, or green, it's who control the finance controls the office. It's that money is power.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all need to drink this. I'm sitting drinking mushroom coffee. Boy, this is good stuff. Oh, Jesus. Y'all see that?
Yep. You and your rise.
I heard that's nasty, man.
Okay. I've had a couple of bags sent to me, and
but look, they got mushroom creamer that makes it taste a whole lot.
Oh man, I don't know about none of that. I tried it. They said the company reached out to me and they actually sent me a couple bags for free, and I was like, all right, I'll try it. And then I was like, oh, I just can't get into this.
It's required taste, but this, when I got this creamer, oh my God, this creamer make it take it to another level, boy. It's like you in heaven, sitting next to the angels, drinking a cup.
Shit. He likes that shit.
But I'll eat anything. Listen, I'm the only person you know that eat raw beets. No matter how it tastes, it's healthy for you. I'm a health freak, so I'm trying to live a little bit longer. And then if I die, I want to come back and kick some ass. So I want to be healthy on both ends.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what I told one of the prosecutors one time. Said, hey, you better pray to whatever God you pray to, because it can't be the same one I pray to. There's no such thing as reincarnation. Because something happened to me, I'm gonna come back and come to the depths of hell, and I'm gonna kill your whole bloodline. Yeah. Oh shit! I didn't say, well, that's the truth, But yeah, man, we got issues. What we definitely got to do is put racism aside. And people look at me because of the things I say, but I just call it like I see it, because I'm half white and half black. So I don't give a damn what color he is. I'm like Captain Kirk. Shit. It's about justice and what's right. But if you think because you're white that the laws don't apply to you, the rules don't apply to you, then you got a problem. If you think you black and the rules, the regulations, and the laws don't apply for you, you got a damn problem. It's just that simple. Rules and regulations are for everybody, even Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna run for president. That's what I'm gonna do, y'all. I'm gonna run for president, and I'm gonna get I ain't gonna even say a speech or nothing. I'm gonna
just do it.
I'm gonna give everybody $1 million in America, and everybody vote for me, and I ain't saying shit else the rest of the time.
That's cool. I respect
Give
that.
everybody $1 million.
I respect that, Bobby.
Yeah, give everybody $1 million. Y'all vote for me. Everybody be rich.
Then you raise the price up on everything. It's about that $1 million you can buy. It'd be gone.
Gas $59 a gallon. Listen,
Emotional damage.
$59 a gallon. We still gonna buy it. So we need to move them.
That shit is funny.
Man. Well, look, we sitting at 125, so we're gonna narrow it down a little bit. Like I said, I appreciate everybody, like always, being on. Like, follow, share, subscribe. On both ends, on Mike's side and my side, jump on each other, hit that like button. That's what gets these videos out there the way they're supposed to. Also, check out the Dominant Effect store. Hit the little QR code up there at the top right corner there. It'll take you right to it. A lot of good stuff on it. Like I said, I got promo codes, get 10, 15% discounts on them. Say again?
Yeah. You got some freedom papers on there?
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on there. You have to just go on there and check it out. Like I said, I appreciate the panel. Bobby, even though you came late, I appreciate you being on here.
I tell you, I like to get on, man. So.
Yeah, I know. And Aaron is always good with the information. Mike, like always, I appreciate you being there as well. We got a pre, so we try to keep it going. Don't forget to, like I said, go on there, hit the subscription button. You know what I mean? Come on, go over to Facebook, type in the Dominant Effect group. There's a lot of information that we're putting on there. That's actually growing pretty quick. That's some weeks we picking up, 30, 40, 50 people in a week. You know what I mean? So it's actually picking up pretty quick over there. So if you haven't got on there yet, go on Facebook, type in the Dominant Effect, and join up on there. We're always on there. So it ain't nothing to come through there that we don't see and comment and like on or whatever. So go on there and check that out. But I'll see everybody next week with another interesting story. And Aaron, I'm gonna let you go ahead and go. Then we'll let Bobby say some last words, and then we'll close it out with Mike.
Okay. Right now, you saw in the news where Trump has struck a partial deal with China. I don't think a deal has been struck. I think it's bought everybody an extra 90 days while they negotiate. If they do strike a deal, will we still need India? Or are we gonna let Brown kill Brown over there in the nuke war because the rest of the world don't seem to care? I haven't seen the United Nations. I haven't seen NATO. I haven't seen nobody want to come in and mediate that, send in peacekeeping troops or anything. But one thing is for sure, we just got bought an extra 90 days. That's time for you to get your preparations together. We don't know what's going to happen in the world, but we're hanging on the edge right now of something major. Right now, Great Britain had a damn power outage, which is that a coincidence? After what happened in France, Belgium, Spain, and Portugal? What happens if power goes out over here? How long will people remain as a society before they start killing each other over a can of peaches or a case of bottled water? You don't want to be out there searching for resources. Stock up your supplies now. And then if we get into a major trade war with China and everything gets cut off and other nations join in, you'll be able to live off your supplies for a period of time and not have to be out there. So get your gardens together, start learning gardening techniques, start learning how to purify water in case you have to go get water from a resource because a cyber attack has shut things down. In Connecticut this week, they're getting ready to start a big cyber attack thing that FEMA, the National Guard, and other people are going to be participating in. They're not doing this stuff for nothing. There has to be a viable threat for them to be setting up preparations for. Learn, if you see the government's preparing, if you see them stocking weapons, food, water, gold, whatever, there's a reason for it. Start stocking yourself. And I'll stop there.
Oh, you, Bobby.
Yeah, he said a mouthful there, prepared. One of the things you got to prepare for, buy bullets, not guns. Can't use all the guns. Buy bullets. Buy bullets. The commander of the UAP New Gun Club always put out a post. It's Friday. You just got paid. Buy bullets. Because when they cut them bullets off, who control the bullets? So, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna say this before we go, and I just because it just came come mind. An older guy told me years ago that the government cannot control. You have a right to bear arms. That's true. But missiles are like small bullets, right? I mean, bullets are like missiles. Missiles are like bullets, right? Do you see anybody in the hood got a missile? Anybody? Do y'all know anybody in the hood? They got guns all day long and bullets. So the law is to bear arms. And I shouldn't say this because I like to bear arms, but it doesn't give you the right to the ammo. It makes sense, do it. Stop the ammo. We can't use them. If you got the gun, it ain't gonna work. But y'all didn't hear that from me. Beat that out because I don't want nobody to know that government might pick up on that and take that.
I hear you, Bobby. One of the things, how we can't back our money with gold anymore, right? I've always said that we should back our money with ammunition. So that's what I've always said. Just wanted to state that. With that being said, much love, honor, and respect to everybody that's been here with us and hanging out and engaging with the entire conversation. Thank you to the panel, everyone on here that brings such incredible value here. Stick around if you guys are on my side. We're going to be sending a raid over to you guys over there to Grid One Motorsports. So stick around for that. Much love, honor, respect to everybody. And thank you guys for all hanging out with us. We'll see you guys in 7 days. And until then, God bless everyone. And we'll see you guys very soon. Thank you guys on the panel again. Much love.
Stand by.